Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another weekly recap. In the weekly recap, I like to go over anything interesting in the old school RuneScape community this week. Now, today we did get a content update. A new quest was added, a Porcine of Interest, a very low-level introductory quest to the Slayer skill. Now, on top of that update, we got a few more things from poll number 72, as well as, surprisingly, some pretty big changes to the Grand Exchange buying limits. So we're going to be having a more in-depth look at that. As always, I'll be doing a quick recap of the weekly Q&A. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, I always appreciate it. If you leave the video a like, always helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much, and let's get started. Now, today's game update actually included quite a few different things. It had a new quest, more stuff from poll number 72, and even changes to the Grand Exchange. Now, starting off here with a Porcine of Interest. The Porcine of Interest quest is a novice level quest that is adding in a few different things, mainly a new Slayer monster. There are no skill requirements to start a Porcine of Interest, however you will need membership. For completing the task, you will get 5,000 GP, which actually, if you do that immediately, could actually be kind of useful. 1,000 Slayer experience, 30 Slayer reward points, and access to a new Slayer task. The new Sour Hogs will be assigned by Turiel in quantities of 15 to 50, but also by the new Slayer Master named Spyra. Spyra is going to be a new Slayer Master located in Draenor, and essentially is just a clone of Turiel, but located closer to Lumbridge. Now, Sour Hogs are pretty new and the drop table is still being determined, but it looks like there is some pretty decent stuff on there for a low-level Slayer monster. They have access to the Seed drop table, as well as dropping a few notably good alcohols. Personally, I haven't done the quest yet, I just woke up, but we'll go do it later, and I've heard it's very, very quick. Okay, moving on here to a few new changes from poll number 72. Now, first appeared there's a change to the gem bag. Gems stolen from a gem stall will now go straight into a gem bag. It should be a pretty nice quality of life change to that thieving training method. Next appear a new band of hill giants has been added in the empty area where clan wars used to be. Besides visually looking a bit different, they do also notably have a bit of a different drop table. They're going to drop steel scimitars and iron med helms instead of steel longswords and iron full helms. It is a pretty minor change, but I think adding in really tiny things like this really do help flesh out the world, so I'm glad they put something there. Next up here, there's a quality of life change to cleaning herbs in the Chambers of Zarek. You may now clean all of your herbs automatically after the first one in your inventory. However, it looks like there is a bit of a bug with this, so currently that feature is actually disabled. And finally here we have a change to Zahur. They are now able to clean bank-noted herbs for their usual fee. To do this, you still need to have completed the Hard Desert Diary. Pretty convenient for Ironman or anyone else looking to make a quick buck. Okay, now moving on to one of the things I'm most excited about, and that is actually some changes to the Grand Exchange. Now specifically, they're changing the Grand Exchange buy limits. Now, the main reason they are changing these is just because they were too restrictive at their current limit. Now, they said that they had a peek behind the scenes at the Grand Exchange, and we realized that some of the buy limits, which control the number of each item you can buy every 4 hours, don't quite match up correctly. For example, there are several items that don't have buy limits that match up the amount we feel players should be able to purchase in one go. On the other side of the spectrum, you can sell up to 10,000 of some rare items when the usual limit is much lower. Now, they're not actually listing what the buy limits are, but they have told us what items have been changed. Now, I made a video on this a couple months ago, and I'm happy to see that most of the items on my list have been changed. Now, as they didn't list the new buying limits, I'm just going to go ahead and check some of these myself. Now, first up here, they have elemental runes, which I went ahead and checked, and they bumped it up from 20,000 up to 50,000, increasing the amount of elemental runes you can buy per hour. Next up here, we have feathers, which previously had a buying limit of 13,000, now has a buying limit of 30,000, so almost 3 times higher. Next up here we have gold ore, which has a buying limit of 30,000. Blood and death runes now have a buying limit of 25,000, increased from 10k. Mithril darts are up to 20,000. Previously there were only 11,000. I also checked cannonballs, which got bumped up to 11,000 from 7,000. Grapes are up to 20,000. Super compost is up to 2,000 each. Pretty big increase there. And climbing boots is actually up to 200 now. Previously it was only 15 or something, very, very low. Now at the bottom here, I think we have things that have been decreased. Now there's a bunch of Zenite jewelry on here that I'm pretty sure got reduced to 8. I haven't personally checked all of them, but that would make the most sense. That would be in line with every other Zenite piece of jewelry and rare item for that matter. Other things that have been decreased are the Elder Chaos robe top, bottom, and hood. Previously they were 125, most likely they got reduced to 15 or 8 maybe. And pretty much after that we just have the emblem drops from the Revenant Caves. Previously their limit was 10,000, which is ridiculously high. I don't know what the limit is on that one just because it would be a little expensive to check all of them right now. But with 100% certainty I can say that it's going to be less, not higher. Well, here is future me who realized I shouldn't be lazy. I'll just go ahead and check all the buying limits. It wasn't actually that expensive. If you do want to look at this directly, I will leave a link in the description for this spreadsheet. A couple other ones I didn't go over are headless arrows going from 7,000 up to 11,000. Honestly, would have liked to see this a bit higher, as you can burn through these like immediately anyway. Hop seeds all went up from 600 up to 2,000. All compost went up from 600 to 2,000 as well. For some reason, orbs, they decided to increase just by 1,000, kind of a weird change there. Cadaver berries went up to 600 from 200. A really big and nice change also is drift nets. You could burn through drift nets way quicker than you could buy them. They went up to 600 as a buying limit, up from 100. For things that got decreased, I went ahead and checked these ones. All of the Zenite jewelry and Elder Chaos robes got decreased to 8, like I presumed. These ones I'm still not sure about. They're higher than 8. I didn't really want to potentially end up with thousands of these for no reason, but just note that they are going to be lower. So what exactly do these buy limit changes mean? For one, they've opened up potentially more profitable flips on these high volume items. It is possible that the margin on these items could just end up being lower. For just regular players, not really merchants, it really has made things a lot easier for people trying to do regular skilling or PVM activities. Now you shouldn't be bottlenecked by the Grand Exchange as much. And the final change today is actually a change to the costume room. Now, in addition to the last week's update, they made a few extra changes. Some set names have been adjusted to better reflect their trimmed, gold trimmed, gilded, or third age status. And they've also taken the opportunity to add more items to the list of storables, including some Castle Wars items, gold-plated dragon kit, and a few more treasure trail prizes. So overall, there'll just be more items you can store there. And that's pretty much it for today's content update. And finally here, guys, we're going to do a quick recap of the weekly Q&A. Now, I'm not going over all of the questions, but a grand majority of them. Now, one thing they mentioned in the announcement section is that in the next month's Gilnor Gazette, they're going to talk about account security and player support. So that will be coming in September. Also, the new fishing skilling boss is actually going to be going through a bit of a redesign phase. They've received a lot of feedback on it and they want to change it before actually polling it. Now, the first question from the Q&A is, will there ever be another Cracked Clue? They said they are looking into a 3rd edition of Cracked Clue, but it's not going to be a 2020 thing. What are your thoughts on adding a quiver into the game? They think a quiver could be cool. They see it filling 2 potential niches, either straight up a cosmetic item, or they could nestle it somewhere between the accumulator and the assembler as far as strength. However, you wouldn't get the arrow pickup ability. Could we get the aggressive random events back into the game? They said that they were originally part of an anti-body measure, but they didn't really work. While some people may look back on them with nostalgia, for the most part they just think they would be annoying and they wouldn't really help anything. Could the Eldritch Orb get some love? It's way weaker than any of the other orbs. They did actually hint that they're planning on changing that pretty soon. Are you guys going to be looking into nerfing Black D'hide? They said internally they have been talking about a lot of integrity changes, and they should have more on that next week. Will you be looking at the prices of the blighted items pretty soon? When they moved it all over to LMS, they said they would be open to reviewing it, and they will continue to monitor the prices and make appropriate changes. Could it be possible to deny experience from quests? The short answer, no, nobody really wants that. It would ruin a ton of different pure builds and PvP builds, so they don't think that'd be very popular. Could you change the race that you are in RuneScape? For example, to be a gnome with an infernal cape or an elf. They do think it would be kind of a cool idea, and it would be a lot of fun, but it would be an absolutely massive job changing everything over for different races. It would probably interfere with a lot of quest storylines, and overall just be too much work for any gain. Do you have any future changes for Puro Puro? There are some things that they're discussing. For example, something called Farmer's Affinity, which would give you a slightly higher chance of moving through the wheat fields if you entered Puro Puro from one of the crop circles. They'd also like to add in storage by the crop circles as well, similar to the Leprechaun. Would you guys be open to buffing the plank sack? Maybe allowing it to hold more planks would give it more value. They're not really keen on that. Originally, the plank sack was never intended for conventional construction training. just mainly for the contracts themselves. It does actually have a niche use in the Hallowed Sepulchre, but they do not want to change the meta for construction. And finally here, when will the seaweed spores be added to the Master Farmer's drop table? That should be in the next week or two. Pretty much the rest of the changes from poll number 72 should be out this month. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for the weekly recap. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Before I go here, I want to give a massive thank you to Tiz Talk Bunny OSRS, who just joined Revolver Ocelot and Kush Patel at my Dragon tier of YouTube membership. Thank you so much guys, that's so awesome of you, I really appreciate it. Also another massive thank you to Base Titch, Nathan Ashworth, and Double Talk for subscribing at the Runite tier. Thank you so much to them and the rest of my YouTube members. If you are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is an awesome way to do so. You'll get yourself mentioned in my videos, a custom Discord role, as well as access to my video release schedule. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.